Hello, welcome. We are live. We are Star Trekking and we are live. We are here in Toronto. I am Nicole. I am here in the East End with Gary.
Hello.
And across the city, we have Green. How are you doing?
Freshly slowered, slightly dehydrated.
Keep drinking. Right. Keep drinking water.
Yeah, we're
rehydrating.
It's the Native Arts Festival this week in Toronto, so I've been out at cultural events for the past 2 days.
Awesome.
Picking up some swag and just doing it's like it's from now until Tuesday.
Okay, so yeah, definitely Google Native Arts Festival if you want to check out anything going on with that. There'll be
the last big event will be on Tuesday so if you want to pick up some native vendors, arts and crafts, stuff like that. The last big event will be on Tuesday at Yonge and Dundas Square. That's where we usually have the big Native History Month celebration down there. Although happening the day after that, much more important than that, is my 40th birthday.
Excellent. Very important.
Do I have any plans? Absolutely not. I'm gonna go to work. I'm going to run my game of Vampire Masquerade, and I'm gonna go to bed just like I do every Wednesday.
Well, that sounds good. I mean, if that is what you intend to do, that is the best thing possible.
I had originally booked the week off, but things got in the way, and I'm still taking time off, but it'll be a bit later.
Makes sense. Well, we'll figure that out. You'll update us with your plans when you have them. But happy early birthday in the meantime.
It won't affect this show. I'm not going anywhere because COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I still take COVID pretty seriously, so it's been a bit of a nerve wrack being on the bus the past couple of days because TTC lifted the mask mandate.
No, I understand that. It's been weird. It's been weird for sure. I mean, not that people have been super awesome about it to begin with, but it's been like, yeah.
Until the mandate got fully lifted, I did see more people with masks than without.
Now, that's true. Now everybody, now it's like all bets are off, more or less.
Now it's the opposite. You still see, like, I wear a mask. You still every time you get on a bus, you'll see people with masks, but they're always in a minority now.
Yeah. Well, our New York correspondent, Jen T, often tells us that in New York, most everyone wears masks, and if you don't, on the subway, and if you don't, people shame you. And I'm like, why can't we be like New York? We always want to be like New York. Why can't we be like New York in this one thing?
Why this one time? Toronto's constantly trying to be New York. Why this one time can't we be trying to be like New York?
Be like New York, Toronto. In New York, they want to wear masks and they shame people for not doing it. So why can't we be like New York? A thing I will plug really quickly. It's about to wrap up. It is the Kickstarter for the subversive sci-fi. Everyone's gone to the movies. Subversive Sci-Fi Volume 2. It's a anthology I'm involved in. The first volume was on horror, and I did an essay on the Blair Witch Project. This one, I've got an essay on Deep Impact and Don't Look Up, actually. So, and there's like a ton of great writers. Eddie Webb, Matthew Dawkins, you might know from Onyx Path and White Wolf, a number of other great writers, a friend of the show, Justin Moharab, a number of people. It's all by Chris McLaughlin, who is also a great friend of the show. So please check it out if you're interested in reading some great stuff about some great science fiction movies.
All right. I don't plug my writing stuff at all, and I should. I do cultural consultation work for novels. So if you're looking for a cultural consultation on sci-fi or fantasy that involves native topics, give me a DM.
100%.
I just got contacted by a new editor today, so I should have a new project in the pipeline soon.
Definitely do contact Green about that. Great person. Definitely has worked for us actually in that capacity in the past with our LARP. Our Night Watch LARP was a consultant talking about what sort of native issues and native characters for Night Watch and the Toronto area, and how sort of the native magical landscape would look, so to speak, and basically headed up that for us because we're not the right people to do that. So Green was did an awesome job of NPCing for us. The guy who was not involved in the situation.
I honestly, people who are like distantly removed from the situation and look down condescendingly on everyone else as they are emotionally involved in one of my favorite archetypes to play. It's not necessarily the best for getting plot, but it's always fun to just look down your nose at everyone.
It was great. It was this is white people business and you guys can clean it up. It was pretty funny.
Well, you know, in a cop drama, you do need to have that, right? Like that outside perspective is just like, God damn you people.
Yeah. And it's a good NPC role because it means I'm not taking plot from PCs.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You're just there to consult and laugh at them, which is nice. Fun times.
If we don't get too deep in the weeds on LARP theory, but we had this problem when we were running Changeling, which is that we were playing Changeling Lost, which has 4 monarchs, 1 for each season, and I was playing the Summer King, and we had this issue where, like, what would happen is we'd take the plot, the 4 monarchs would take the plot, go into a closed room none of the players could be at, and then we would like consume all the plot. And I was just like, this is not a good way to run a game. This is not a good structure. We should be the monarchs should be plot givers.
Yes, exactly.
So we should not, which is why I'm against like high ranking characters. If it's vampire, prince, if it's changeling, monarchs, should never be PCs.
Or at least you should have a good you need to have a good sort of ecosystem with the players and understanding if you're going to be in that situation, right? Where people understand their responsibilities if they're going to take those things on and have some sort of like contract written or otherwise. I think if you have that you know that you're supposed to distribute that sort of thing.
There just needs to be, I mean, I guess NPC is a bit much, but there needs to be coordination between, if you're going to have high NPCs, you need to have coordination with the ST team to disseminate plot to the lower ranking players so that they have something to do, because it's very easy for high ranking characters. Star Trek's a good example of this. Like, so if you have a LARP where like a Star Trek LARP, it's very easy for the captain to be the one. If you have for the captain to be the one always going down on away missions and always taking the plot,
or like the bridge crew to make all the decisions and then tell everybody else what to do, right?
Exactly. And you don't want that. You want especially, I mean, it's fine if a tabletop game you've got 6 players, that's cool, that's the format. But if you're doing a LARP with 30 plus players, 30 to 100 players, you don't want that. You want a bridge crew that is going to be responsive to people's personal plots and give that and share and spread the plot around. To
tie this to a little bit to Star Trek is Odysseus is running again, which is the Finnish spaceship LARP.
Yeah.
And apparently they did a really good job of having like about 60 people and everyone having sort of plot and something to do. So
I would love to do a Star Trek Adventures LARP. I'd love to do it. It'd be getting like caught. I mean, Star Trek uniforms.
Hey, you know, the sets are here. I mean, like, can you imagine?
I'm sure if we could scrape the funds together, they would rent us those sets, because I do know that they do that. I know the sci-fi web series Star Command does rent other sci-fi does rent other sci-fi shows sets to get made. Star Command is written by a former Star Trek writer, a writer on DS9. He now just makes it as a web show. I don't think he has any involvement with current Star Trek though.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that Star Trek people? Wouldn't that be a great prize for like the biggest Star Trek fans in the world to let them come to Toronto and have a Star Trek LARP run by, say, experts in LARP that have a Star Trek stream every other week.
Shameless.
So, I mean, we could probably pitch this to the Discovery people. I don't know about the Strange New World people, but the Discovery people, the Star Trek Discovery cast. I haven't watched it, but they have a Dungeons and Dragons actual play.
Oh my god!
Wow. Yeah. See,
Wow.
guys, like, come on, Discovery, Stranger Worlds. I don't care either or. But I mean, I would love to see the Anson Mount here. But I mean, wouldn't that be a huge prize for somebody to be like, you guys can come and play on the set a LARP where you're like, you know, the on the bridge of the Enterprise, or you're like Captain whoever. I don't know, not Pike, but
I believe Anthony Rapp is the GM on the Star Trek Discovery.
Oh my god, Anthony Rapp and I would be best friends. I totally know it. Like 110%. Oh, by the way, Saru liked my tweet because he recently shaved his head because it takes 2 hours off of the makeup process. And
right, because they'd have to have to put Vaseline down his hair.
I think he also shaved off his eyebrows, Doug Jones. So he had his before with his nice blonde hair. He's very blonde, so I mean it's like the same. He's very white. So it was before, and then after he's like totally bald, and he's like, this is what I do every year before I'm Saru. And so I said to him, well, at least it's gonna be super hot and gross here soon. So being bald will be a definite benefit. And he liked that tweet. And I'm like, oh, Doug Jones knows I'm alive. Yay, Saru.
Yeah, no, we could I would be up for I don't know how to get in contact with anyone beyond like production crew at Discovery, but I would be up for like writing them. Can we do a Discovery LARP?
Can we do a Discovery LARP? Can they come play Anthony Rapp? Oh, speaking of Anthony Rapp, just another quick digression. Gary mentioned today that Kevin Spacey's going to trial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh really? I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, in London. So it's a little vindication and revenge for Anthony Rapp.
Right.
So that's nice. That's nice to see.
Anyway,
we can get to Strange New Worlds. I just wanted to talk about this thread that I retweeted earlier this week from Jay Schuyler. And they were talking about how getting real tired of glowing reviews of Star Trek Strange New Worlds that are wholly predicated on the idea that Star Trek Discovery is shit, particularly labeling the latter as not real Star Trek. In particular, the idea that season-long story arcs, as opposed to self-contained episodes, are somehow at odds with what makes Star Trek is absurd. Star Trek Deep Space Nine was not my cup of tea. I couldn't get into it because I found the idea of chronicling the tales of space dock officers as opposed to starship crews unappealing. DS9 is still authentically Star Trek. It just wasn't my thing. DS9 is still authentically Star Trek, and I've never need to mention my dislike for it literally ever, especially when discussing either the latest films or Strange New Worlds or Discovery or Picard. Star Trek Discovery is let's think outside the box a bit, while Strange New Worlds is let's refresh the classic, and both are very good at what they set out to accomplish. Both are authentically Star Trek, and I love them both for entirely different reasons.
Yeah, I think that falls. Like I was talking to I won't name drop them, but I was talking to some other like people who also have a sci-fi podcast, and they were talking about how it's nice to have Star Trek that doesn't feel ashamed of being Star Trek, but I don't think that's the vibe I get. I mean, maybe season 1 of Discovery, you can say that. Like season 1 of Discovery does feel like it's trying to be Mass Effect more than being Star Trek. But I think when you get past season 1, Star Trek Discovery really does feel like it's trying to be Star Trek.
I like season 1. I'm one of the few people, but I mean, it's super Lorca heavy, and I just love Lorca so much.
So I mean, I don't care for season 1, but I do think it's also trying to be Mass Effect, and that's not a slap against it. I fucking love Mass Effect, and also Mass Effect is trying to be Star Trek. Like,
yeah.
the
Okay.
first two Mass Effect games have a grain filter on them to make them look like old Star Trek episodes.
Wow.
That's funny. I don't know anything about Mass Effect, so I'm gonna totally take your word for it.
They're really good. If I know you're not much of a gamer, but I think you would thoroughly enjoy them if you got around to playing them.
Yeah, it's not that like my relationship with video games is such that it's not that I don't like them. It's just that I can't not play it, right? Like it's an all or nothing thing for me.
I'm like that too.
Yeah. So I feel like I don't have time because if I play Animal Crossing, like I like Animal Crossing because it doesn't, it doesn't require a ton of time if you're doing it all the time. But I mean, if I play Animal Crossing, like I'm playing it like 3 or 4 hours a day every day, right?
Oh, well, I'm like that when I play video games too. I have to make sure I play video games with finite endings, which Mass Effect does. If you want my elevator pitch for Mass Effect, it's Star Trek meets The Expanse.
Oh, cool. See, I would like that, but like, yeah, it's just I get when there's a storyline, it's worse. It's like Romance of the Three Kingdoms was always like the worst for me. Like it's like because there's a storyline and there's politics and there's resource management, and I thought I hated resource management games, but like that's all I freaking play. So yeah, I don't know why.
I mean, you're talking to someone who dropped 300 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so like I can definitely go overboard on video games too. But
yeah, no, I mean it's a thing if you have like some sort of neurodivergence that has to do with where you can hyper focus. That will happen. Like if you have something that you like,
right, because it gets the happy chemicals going, and once you're like, because you have such a hard time, your brain has such a hard time generating the happy chemicals. When you get the happy chemicals going, you don't want to stop whatever it is that's getting them pumping.
Yeah, it's just hard to get away, and it's hard to get out of a flow state too. And that happens very easily with video games. It happens even with me working on like papers and stuff like that. Like I'll work on be writing a paper and doing all the research and stuff, and I can do that for like 8 hours and not think about it.
I'll put off cleaning the apartment for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll just sit down, hyper focus on it, and clean. Do nothing for an entire day but clean.
Yeah, it's intense. It's just like whatever you end up focusing on, it's just like that's all that exists for a while.
Yeah,
it's weird.
That's called being neurodivergent.
Okay, well, we'll start with episode 6. It is called Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. It is written by Andy Armaginian. I think that's not bad. I'm sorry, Andy, if that was the director. And it's Robin Wasserman and Bill Wolkoff wrote it. Andy, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I don't think that was too bad. So the synopsis of this one, which is like super dark and not subtle. I believe
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Yeah, exactly. And as Gary called it, Murder Planet, and then I was like, no, wait. Child Torture Planet. Torture Planet. I'm like, so much better. The Enterprise receives a distress call from a shuttlecraft under attack from a warship while returning to the planet Majalis. Yarrrrr uses Enterprise's phasers to destroy the warship. The shuttlecraft personnel are beamed aboard. A boy designated the first servant, his father and physician Gamal, and Alora, president of Majalis, who is an old flame of Pike's. Alora enlists Pike to help return them to Majalis. Uhura and Noonien Singh investigate the shipwreck and discover its origins in a rebellious colony of Majalis, and Gamal's involvement in a rebel plot. Gamal attempts to fake his son's death to save him, but the servant decides to beam down to Majalis. Alora invites Pike to a ceremony. Pike sees a previous servant's corpse. A guard subdues him when he tries to stop the servant from being connected to a machine. When Pike awakens, Allura reveals why she betrayed him. The rebels were opposed to Majalis' tradition of sacrificing children to preserve the planet's core system. Pike warns Allura he plans to report this to Starfleet and escapes back to his ship. Gamal advises M'Benga on his daughter's condition and leaves Enterprise for the colony, hoping to save future servants. Yeah.
So where do we want to start?
Oh man, I don't know where to start. Okay, well,
I kind of want to start at the ending, but I don't know if everyone's.
Yeah, we could start at the ending. Let's start there.
Okay.
Though I will note really quickly, one thing that we noted was Lon being in security and having all of her rules reminded Gary of NCIS. Because on NCIS, Mark Harmon's character Gibbs has Gibbs's rules, of which there are many, much more than Lon probably has. But it was very similar and funny because they're both basically cops. So, yeah, that was kind of amusing to me, or at least scary. Nerds,
so.
hello. Yes, we are nerds. Whatever. Anyway,
are we getting comments? Oh, there we go. I was switching.
Yes.
I was on private chat, not comments. There we go.
Yeah.
I can see the comments now. And me being called a nerd, which do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
we'll just block that. Anyway, continue. So you wanted to start at the end.
Yeah, so like they obviously didn't do this on purpose because they couldn't have. There's no way that they could have known that there would be a mass shooting in the school like 2 weeks prior to the episode airing. But like there's a moment where Pike's girlfriend, what's her name?
Allura. Is it Allura? Allura.
Yeah, so Allura basically looks directly at the screen and is like, "Can you tell me your society can judge us? You don't sacrifice children." It's just I'm just like, Jesus, this is laying on thick there, aren't we?
But I mean, but the Federation doesn't have children that are starving and shit like that. Like at that point,
well, yeah, that's why that's why she did like that's why she looked at the screen and said that because that was like.
But Pike didn't have any answer for her, and I'm like, Pike should have been like, "No, we don't, because the Federation doesn't have money.
No.
And we provide for everyone."
They couldn't. No. So Pike can't answer that. He can't because if they're intending it as a message to the audience.
Yeah. It was ridiculous that it was in there to begin with, which is your point.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, my point is it's not even necessarily it's ridiculous. It's just it's like no subtext here.
Yeah. I mean, at least in the first episode there was subtext. There was some subtext. I mean, that planet literally looked like it looks like Earth, guys. It's Earth.
That was
Casaloma. Huh?
That was Casaloma.
No, it was Casaloma, but I mean, in the first episode, I'm talking about where they're like, you're destroying your planet. We're destroying our planet, right?
That was also just you, like.
Yeah. No, I knew they were pointing at us, but I mean, like, it lacked even that subtlety when the planet literally it was York University and it looked like Earth. Basically, with some stuff stuck on their face, they were humans.
Being a Star Trek fan currently living in Toronto is like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's just like with popcorn in his mouth.
I know, right? Because I'm like, oh, Casaloma, oh, Ontario Place, oh, York U. That's the Scott Library.
Scarborough Bluffs.
I go there. I'm there all the time. I was telling to Gary when they're marching down there, I'm like, I worked right off of that place. That's where I used to work.
So yeah,
in Ferry Hall.
I took my mother for Mother's Day there once.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's just hilarious. I'm like, what else is going to turn up now?
So, I mean, it's never not delightful. I am super charmed whenever I see like a very like publicly known place for Toronto.
Yeah, Casaloma was particularly funny, especially with like, let's make the ponds floating lava evil something.
Well, it was because they were a floating city, so it'd be like where all the ponds are with like it was like another floating city underneath it.
It was so weird. It's so weird to do. I'm like, what's next? Like it's Sneaky D's. I don't know. Like Sneaky D's is the space pirate hangout.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh my god.
It wouldn't surprise me if Sneaky D's, especially probably more Discovery than Strange New Worlds, but it would not surprise me if Sneaky D's turned up as like some like lair of that guy, or like a bar they have to go to that's dingy to get information.
Yeah.
The Robards library is going to turn up next in Strange New Worlds.
Robards will definitely show up somewhere. Robards will absolutely 100% show up somewhere in an episode of Star Trek. Guaranteed.
I'm going to have to get a picture in front of Scott at my graduation in October. So in front of the Scott Library, like the picture, like the one, like, so I can be like, oh, look, like I'm in Star Trek, you know?
I've never been to Robarts, although I know what it looks like.
It looks like a turkey.
But I'm not sure the outside will be there, but the inside will definitely be like, Robarts is impressive on the inside.
It's very big, yeah. It's huge.
They won't. I've only seen photos because I don't go to U of T and they won't let me in, not even to use the bathroom.
No, they don't let anybody in if you don't have a student card, I don't think.
You have to have a student card to get in there.
Yeah, Gary's been in. Gary can tell us about the wonders of Robards Library. Please
great.
explain to us. Okay.
I just remember seeing photos of the ceiling and being very impressed by them.
A lot of stacks.
Mm-hmm.
And then down on like the main floor, there's like a drop off, pick off area.
I've been there with you. I was there when you dropped stuff off.
It's like 2 or 3 stories high. Like it's big and kind of cavernous there. But once the higher you go up, the like smaller it gets.
I just remember seeing photos of like the lighting and the ceiling and being very impressed by them. But I'm calling now, if they ever need an archive for Starfleet, it's going to be the reference center.
Yeah, I was going to say reference center with the elevators, the clear elevators, 100%.
Like, the giant like open middle.
Yeah, the reference library looks like it could be from Star Trek.
You could hang a whale in there.
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. Okay. So
before COVID, I used to go there to read books I already owned because it's just so pleasant to read in there.
It's so nice and quiet. We used to do work there.
When I went to U of T, that was the library I went to, unless I had to go to one on campus.
Yeah, because pre-internet, like pre-downloading books and downloading journal articles and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it was the only place that Gary was like, I can be sure the books are here. Because they were always gone otherwise.
Because I'm so distractible, I have a hard time reading RPG supplements, so I would go down there and read RPG supplements. I just bring my own books and sit down and read them.
It's nice. It's so quiet. I really liked working there. So Uhura is doing the rotation, so that's why she's on security. This kid, the first servant kid, he wasn't super annoying as a child actor. I kind of liked him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we hit a point where most child actors aren't that annoying. Like we're at a point where there are children that are being born into the discipline of child acting, so not just grabbing random kids. They're actually teaching kids how to act from an early age, and there's something to be said there for child labor, and I don't have a fully formed opinion on that, but I'm not.
They have really they have much stronger laws about how long you can work, but I mean at the same time, kids can still get exploited for sure.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't have fully formed feelings on it, but it does it's a red flag, but it does mean that we are now getting child actors in shows that can actually act.
Well, I mean, it was very natural at the very least, and he was good at being a super smart kid, which I thought was kind of cool. And I bought that he figured out where Mbiga's daughter was, which was kind of cool, just from that conversation. Yeah, which was cool. But I felt bad for him, and he did. I thought he did a really good job of like being willing to do everything right up to the point that he saw what happened to the other kid.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh God, oh no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is a bad idea. Right. Like I was really impressed by him doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was impressed by the guy playing his dad too. He looked familiar. I don't know what I've seen him in, but I feel like I've seen him in some other stuff. He's probably Canadian. That would be my guess. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind this episode. I liked it. That, you know, Pike is what did I say? Anson Mount is like only a year older than me, and he's getting laid on TV, so that's pretty cool. You know,
why is the cast of the show so hot?
That was what we were talking about too. Like we said, like this cast is incredibly good looking. It's ridiculous. It's like Riverdale, like older Riverdale. It's like, ridiculous.
Yeah, see, I don't. I mean, it's probably because like I'm about to turn 40. I don't get like hot vibes from the cast of like the CW shows. They're a bit young for me. I'm older.
All of the Riverdale cast are probably almost like 35 at this point, to be honest. But yeah, you know, I get what you're saying. But like the cast of Riverdale, you look at them and like they're just beautiful. They were just all beautiful. Even the parents were beautiful because one of the parents was Skeet Ulrich, for God's sake, Jughead's dad, right? It's like who was like heartthrob from Scream in like the 90s. Like they had, and like Luke Perry was Archie's dad. So, you know,
that's why it's the pretty show.
Yeah.
Right? Like
so
every generation.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So it's like this show is equally ridiculous. I actually saw a tweet from the woman who plays
it got 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
Which did?
Strange New Worlds. Let Us Suffer. Let the episode 6. I'm looking up that actor that you recognize but couldn't place.
Oh, okay.
So that took me to Rotten Tomatoes, and this episode has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I mean,
now, it's not widely reviewed. There's only 5 reviews up, but every one of them liked it. I
mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad episode. I didn't think it was the best of their episodes.
No, I thought. I do think as much as I am legitimately a Subtext is for Cowards person, it was a bit heavy-handed. Like I think it was so heavy-handed that it did bring the rest of the episode down. I like the twist. Like I thought it was a good twist. I thought it was a good idea. I like the premise. I like the setup. I just thought it could have used some more shades of subtlety.
Oh, I was going to say you will like this. I retweeted a tweet from Melissa Navia, who plays Ortegas. And she said someone talking about not being sure about whether Pike's hair or Ortegas's hair is better. Melissa said, Ortegas's hair looks up to Pike's hair. As glorious as it is on your TV screen, it is somehow more glorious in person. And it is getting bigger every episode, I think. I think it got bigger between episode 6 and 7. I'm pretty sure.
Within episodes, it's a bit inconsistent. Like episode 1 is bigger by the end than it is at the start.
I just think it's the source of his power, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Or the panic level.
You think he's Samson?
He's Samson, or the panic level on board. Is it like Janeway? The messier her hair gets, the higher the panic level is. So the higher Pike's hair gets, the worse the situation is.
That's right.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it was nice. Like the whole cast is beautiful. The woman who played Alora was beautiful. It was nice to, like, it was actually kind of nice. We were laughing about how Pike was like such a dumbass that he couldn't figure out what was going on, because he was like, hot woman, I love her. You know, and he's like,
it's very Kirk in like the best way.
Yeah. He was like, and then when he had to go up to the ship, he's like, what was so important that you had to stop me getting laid? You know, and they're like, your girlfriend's evil. And he's like, what do you mean my girlfriend's evil? We were having a great time. Why are you ruining this for me? You know, it was really funny.
Well, that was the other thing that was entertaining for me, is that like his girlfriend's a cultist, right? And you're just like, Dude, are you not seeing what's happening?
Yeah, everything she kept saying. Like Gary was like, "Your girlfriend's a cultist. Listen to what she's saying, sacrifice and all this stuff." And like he's just like, "Oh, that sounds great. I love you. When can we have sex?" Like.
I saw. This is more about the next episode, but I saw a meme that today that really exemplifies like this same mentality. It's where is it? I posted it to Facebook. Okay. Star Trek ship posting. Okay. Oh, did someone take? Oh no, someone didn't take it down. I just didn't share it. I shared the page instead of the group. So it's the it's oh no, I can't. It's Cisco and another DS9 character talking about how it's like, I hear you're getting your Pike medal today. It's like, I got mine. Pike must have been such a great leader, and then it's like it's snaps to the panel of him talking like a pirate.
Yarrrrr. Yeah, I know, right?
Well, we can talk about the next episode.
He's so goofy. Yeah, I was just gonna say, first off, I saw some people talking about how with this episode about like how maybe Pike should have done something, or they should have done something about this situation, or that Kirk would have done something, or blah blah blah. Like I don't know. I don't think I agree with, like, I think he was just in a situation where there was literally nothing he could do, because if he ripped the kid out of the machine, it would kill him.
Yeah.
And like if he blew up the planet, like
start a war.
Yeah. Like I really don't I don't know how, like, I think the thing he did was like cut off this woman who was like, if you end up in this situation you're terrified of, not only will I fix you, but I love you and I want you to be with me. And he's like, I'm just gonna, no, you're evil.
Okay, if I can divest for a second, I figured out where you know that actor from. So his name is Hussein Madavi, and he is from Schitt's Creek.
Ah, okay.
That is
he's one of the townspeople on Schitt's Creek, right?
I haven't looked it up. It just says known for Saving Hope, Schitt's Creek, Call Me Fitz, and Mira the Royal Detective.
He owns a business in the town.
I have not watched Schitt's Creek. I tried to watch the first episode, didn't like it. Everyone tells me that if I can get past the first couple episodes, I would like it. I just have not made that sacrifice.
I wouldn't bother. I have reasons to say so. I don't like to go into them, but yeah.
I just didn't like a show. I didn't want to watch a show that made me feel sympathy for rich fucks.
That's a perfectly fair reason.
Like I get away. I don't mind Arrested Development, because at no point during Arrested Development does it ask you to feel any sympathy for these fuckers.
No, I love that show because of it. Actually, that's that's something that I always find interesting is Succession. The show that is about horrible rich people is shot exactly like Arrested Development.
I've not seen Succession, but I've heard that, and it sounds like it might be my jam, just because I am fine for shows about rich people, so long as those rich people are awful.
I love it. I mean, there is a little bit of wealth porn, like, I'm not gonna lie, but these people are like the worst fucking people ever. And like every time you're like, oh, maybe someone better will win. No, the worst person always wins. Worst person always wins. Always. And I mean, it's an excellent show.
Well, and a lot of the other bad people get punished, or like
it's just Anyway, anything else about this episode?
I don't know. Like it's a hard episode to talk about because it's where it wears its themes on its sleeves so much. Like, and there are you can criticize character action in it. Like, you can criticize
Yeah, like the guard in the first place who runs off and is just like blows himself up, and you're like, why did you run off? Like the first guard who runs off into the Castle Loma Gardens, and we're like, what are you doing? And what was your plan? And
yeah,
I don't know.
It was also, I figured out what was going on super fucking quick.
Yeah, Gary was calling it Murder Planet like super fucking early.
True.
He's like, this is a murder planet. It's a murder planet. I'm like, yeah, something's going on.
I think that's maybe why I'm like, it could have dealt with a little bit more subtlety, because like there was no mystery to it. Like the characters had to pretend to not know what's going on. The characters had to act like they didn't know what's going on, because if they figured it out too quickly, there wouldn't be an episode. But I appreciate the themes, and I did enjoy it. It's just I think by the standards of the rest of Discovery, which I fucking love, it's probably the worst episode so far. But once again, that's like it's a B+ as opposed to an A. Like,
at least they had Pike just be stupid because he was like, pretty girl, and just like,
well, and it's nice because you got Lana, the security, you know, like her kind of like storyline, people talking about her, and it kind of fills in the mystique about her.
But Lan, it's developing her character a little bit more.
Yeah, I also find I don't remember the B plot very much. Like I know that there's three plots, but they're all kind of interconnected. There's the plot with the kid on the ship. There's the plot with Pike getting laid and being an utter and complete himbo. Although I stand a himbo captain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that happened. That's great. I mean, people over 40 getting laid on TV doesn't happen very often.
Yeah,
great.
Outside of Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Sex in a Starship. There's a lot of sex on Strange New Worlds. I'm here for it, but there's a lot of sex on the show.
Oh yeah, I know.
It really is a soap opera.
Uhura doing her rotation was just another example of how Uhura is like the best at everything all the time, because she keeps finding solutions to things like out of nowhere. Like Lon gave her a super, super hard task, and she's like, I got it done. Yeah, and I did things 5 times better than you expected.
If there was any department she was going to fail, it should have been security.
Yeah. And she didn't.
Well, hey, no, she does accidentally blow up a ship after being asked to softly fire at it.
Well, I mean, they ask Ortegas to gently fire at the Enterprise too, and she's like, "What is gently firing?" So in the next episode. So I'm not really sure.
Although Ortega does at least not blow up the ship.
Yes. She does not blow up the ship. It's true. But it's that's just, I think it was just an example of showing how, Uhura just finds a way to excel at everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, she's Wesley Crusher, but better?
Not annoying. And I'm a Wesley fan. So, I mean, she is Wesley, but better. She's of an appropriate age to be on the bridge.
And Wesley also got to where he was through nepotism, whereas she clearly earned it. So there's...
She clearly has earned it. She's clearly the best and most qualified person on the ship, probably. She's just like schooling I don't know. Look
at the people she's among, though.
Yeah.
She's as good. She's Spock level now.
Spock.
Like
or
she's
like
engineer. Spock and Uhura. Oh, the engineer too. Okay,
crazy.
Hammer is pretty good too.
Security, she's genetically enhanced.
Well, she's genetically enhanced. That's why she's so good. Uhura's just normal, and she knows like 42 languages.
Number one's like an enhanced alien.
Yeah,
person.
They're enhanced. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, it's fine.
I'm just saying she's keeping up with this caliber.
No,
I'm saying she's better.
Whoa.
In any case,
it does create a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, by the time Kirk rolls around, why is she just a communications officer if she's this competent?
I know. Well, I mean, she's a cadet. Yeah. And when Kirk is coming on and he's just going to be a lieutenant. When he's coming on second season, he's going to be lieutenant. So he's not even going to be a captain. Oh yeah. Yeah, it does present a problem, but maybe this is a different timeline. Maybe it's a different story. Like, I'm still not really sure what the hell's going on. Timeline. I think it might be. I think Discovery did something different. I really feel like it did. I think it's messed. Well, also Michael is here, and Michael isn't in TOS. Like, there is no Michael.
Yeah, there's no Cybok until there is. Like, that's how Star Trek do.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay, so let's go to the next episode, since, you know, although hopefully Mbenga will get his Cybok. Well, because Cybok, but hopefully Mbenga will get his daughter out of the transporter now that he's able to work on you know, the technology to fix her problem. So the next is the Serene Squall. It is Bo DeMeo and Sarah Tarkov are the writers. Sidney Freeland is the director. The Enterprise, joined by Starfleet Counselor Aspen, travels to a far-flung colony under attack from space pirates in the rogue ship Serene Squall. Pike and a landing party beam over to the ship, only for its crew to board the Enterprise, take the Starfleet officers hostage, and send the Serene Squall away. Number 1 and Ortega stall the pirates while Spock and Aspen escape the bridge, but Aspen reveals themselves as the Serene Squall's captain, Angel, and forces T'Pring to warp over for their ultimatum. T'Pring must release Angel's husband, a prisoner she is attempting to rehabilitate, or Spock dies. T'Pring chooses the latter, but Spock pretends to break their engagement and kisses Chapel. Angel tries to fire on T'Pring's ship, but Pike warps in above board the Serene Squall, having used his culinary skills and the threat of dealing with the Klingons to encourage a mutiny. And Number 1 locks Enterprise's controls. Angel flees, and the pirates surrender. Spock reassures T'Pring of his love for her and tells Chapel their friendship is strictly platonic, disclosing that he thinks Angel's husband is his half-brother, Cybok, who also, as you pointed out, we have never heard of before.
We have.
Okay, we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the main villain for Star Trek 5.
Oh, okay.
He's never mentioned anywhere in it until he shows up in Star Trek 5.
Oh, okay, so there you go. So, Star Trek 5 main villain.
He's the one who's like, I'm gonna go find God, and then he finds God, and then he's just like, oh, God's an asshole, and then he kills me, and then the Klingons kill God.
Okay. So dealing with Klingons is always a bad idea. Pike is right about that. Okay, so this was kind of a fun episode. Gary from the beginning was like, Aspen's in on it, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't pick it up, and like
really,
I didn't. And the second it was revealed, I'm like, oh, I should have picked that up.
I didn't until Gary did, and I didn't until they showed up in the jumpsuit. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's a space pirate jumpsuit.
Oh, the black jumpsuit?
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
It was one of those things where I didn't call it, but it was like, but also when it was revealed, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Gary was also saying that the Orion dude, he was like, oh yeah, that guy wasn't in charge.
He would never be in charge. Not of this operation.
Oh, that was clear.
Yeah.
Pike was very good. It was kind of a fun episode. That's why I was saying they were very different in tone, because it was entertaining. In that, because this was not necessarily comical, but it was because there was a real threat. But it was entertaining in that true, Pike.
They're taken prisoner, right?
Yeah.
There's two tones, because the A plot and B plot are totally very different.
Mm-hmm.
But the B plot is absolutely a comedy.
Yeah, like you're concerned about the Enterprise, but at the same time, Pike is like, literally, they say using his culinary skill. He's like, oh, you guys don't like the food? I'll cook for you. Sure.
I mean, we always know it's an episodic TV show. We always know that they're going to get the ship back by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know that. the writers know we know that. So rather than pretend and try to build artificial tension, they're just like, let's have some fun with this.
Mm-hmm. And it was very entertaining. Like I like that they have number one and Pike have a code that's named by cities that's very
Yes.
similar, or planets or something like that, missions that's similar to. Did they do that in Alias? What was the other? There's
There's a couple of series.
there's
yeah.
a couple of series and movies where that's happened before, where they say, "Oh, it's this," you know, or like, "Oh, not that again," or whatever. I'm
mean,
trying to remember.
Marvel does that between Clinton and Natasha.
Yeah, Clinton and Natasha do that.
Heist movies tend to do it. Like
Um,
Ocean's 11 had a thing like that. a couple
Ocean's
times.
11 did that. Hudson Hawk did songs. I
Yes.
remember that.
Man, Hudson Hawk is underappreciated.
It really is
It
an
is.
underappreciated movie. I saw it when I
And
was a
everybody's
teenager.
in it.
I loved that movie, and people hated it. And I'm like, why is this movie getting bad reviews? It was fun. I was entertained.
It bombed. I think it bombed because it was released against something really big. Like it released against a really successful movie that crushed it. I don't remember what that movie is.
It was also like supposed to. It was Bruce Willis's first big film, and so like it was like he had to launch from there. I think it was his first big movie after Die Hard, or maybe it was before that. I don't even know.
On
I'll have to
another,
check.
we've discussed this before, but man, since we're on a Star Trek, I just want to take a moment to appreciate how much sci-fi Bruce Willis has actually given us. Like he's not commemorated as like a sci-fi guy, but if you think about it, he has a lot of sci-fi movies.
That's true. It's true.
Oh, and if you consider all of his recent stuff, like he's pumped out a bunch of Netflix like sci-fi things. And some of them are like they're okay.
Well, that's kind of sad.
It
Given
is
the
sad,
situation.
I know, because of the situation.
But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Because he hasn't been well, and so that's
well, he has a language processing. I don't know I don't know the full deets, but I know the congenital condition he has affects like language processing and actually impedes his ability to act.
Yeah, it basically the issue was a lot of the recent projects he was in. He was sort of pushed into it, and he's not super cognizant of what's going on. So not great.
I haven't read too much into it. I just know that like the reason why he's been criticized so much for his recent acting is literally because he has this congenital disease that affects his ability to act.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he wouldn't be doing it if people around him weren't signing the contracts for him.
It's very likely. I don't like. I haven't read into it as deeply as I probably should, so I don't know the deets. But yeah, that sounds likely.
In any case, that Pike and the mutiny kind of storyline is entertaining and enjoyable, and then
they are able to bring the tension back at the very end, because it ends with them basically like they don't have full control over the ship just yet.
Yeah, I mean,
so they have to be rescued.
A gag.
Mhm.
Like that was also just a gag because they're like, once again, we know that they're going to get the ship back, so there's no use in pretending otherwise. So just have some fun with it. So they did a sight gag where it's just like, we think they're in charge, and then it pans back. And it's like, oh no, they're not actually in charge.
The ship's in full riot.
They took the ship. They took the ship bridge prematurely. I like that. That was great. I was nice to see T'Pring again. The amount of time, the amount of time we're seeing her, I think she's going to be around a lot.
She's only in, I think, one episode of the original series. She's not an important character. I mean, two episodes, because I believe it's a two-parter. Now it's the most. Now she's the most memorable episode because she's from the episode where Kirk and Spock fight to the death over her love, or over her not love because she's Vulcan, but over like right to marry.
Yeah. I like her a lot. I like the actress and I like the character. She's really interesting. I like this plot. I like the plot in that it really, like, they're very good at having plots that illustrate to the characters, like they have a character have a situation and they have a plot that illustrates to the character why they need to deal with this situation.
Yep.
Like, you know, Pike keeps coming up with things that make him deal with the fact that either his fate isn't fixed, or how frustrating it is to deal with people who they think their fate is fixed, or him having to accept what his fate might be. Like, he keeps coming up with these. And then Spock was trying to deny his human side because T'Pring was like investigating human sexuality, and it made him uncomfortable because he doesn't, which is great. I love it. She's being really, I'm like, she's such a great partner. I love it that she's like, I'm going to read all these human sex books so I can understand you better. And Spock's like, I don't want to know anything about being human or human sex. Let's not talk about this. Or maybe we should read them together. But I am uncomfortable with this conversation. And then, of course, he goes to chapel again for advice. And I'm like, oh, my God, Spock. This poor woman. It was really great that he comes into this situation where someone emotionally manipulates him and shows that, yeah, you have to deal with your human side because you are capable of being emotionally manipulated.
Yeah, I did like the line where she's just like, I've been using your emotions to manipulate you this whole time.
Yeah, you think you're not emotional. You think you're cutting off your human side and you're fully Vulcan. But I also like that they said to him, you know, maybe you don't have to be human or Vulcan. I'm like, yeah, maybe you can just be Spock. Maybe you can be Spock. Maybe being Spock is good enough, right?
Well,
like,
I quite liked her as I thought her philosophy towards, like, I thought her philosophy was right. And that like makes her really interesting. Especially because like Cybok is not a well, like, I like Star Trek 5. I'm in minority. Star Trek 5 isn't the best Star Trek movie. It's the one that's directed by Shatner, and Shatner's pretty hard at points.
Shatner's pretty hard. I mean,
I
always wonder what happened.
Uhura does the fan dance to distract, like, she gets naked and she does a fan dance dressed to distract people, and has like a 3-breasted stripper in it. It's just like, all right, Shatner never got through puberty. I get it.
I always wonder what happened with Shatner, because Shatner like was a classically trained like Stratford Festival actor.
Yeah, doesn't mean he can't be juvenile.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's just like a big old ham a lot of the time now and stuff, and like he has been. I've seen him be a good actor in the past.
He's capable of it. But also, like, stage acting teaches you. So he's trained in stage acting as someone who's done a little bit of stage acting.
Oh,
like,
it's bigger.
When you stage act, like, so film acting is like you act with your face, because especially modern film acting, because modern film acting is a lot of like up close. But where you stage act, you act with your body, big expressions all the time.
Yes, exactly, and like, you have to project,
properly enunciate, and like so. The fact that William Shatner is a classically trained stage actor and is as hammy as he is actually perfectly tracks to me.
He never learned to dial it back. Some people do. Some people are very good at it. Jonathan, I can't remember his last name. He played Smith, the new Smith in the Matrix Revolutions. I haven't
seen Revolutions yet. I intend to. I just haven't around to it.
From Mindhunter, Mindhunter. He's in Mindhunter too. He's a Broadway actor and singer, and he was on Glee as well. And he plays the new Smith. He's also the main investigator in Mindhunter on Netflix, and he's very good at like regulating those two. He was the king in Hamilton.
I
Oh, yeah.
I can't comment on how to. I've never done film acting other than extra work, so I can't.
Yeah, same as
I just
me.
have no experience at it.
Same as me. But well, no, I've done student films, but that doesn't really count, I think. Anyway, it was also nice to see. I really love that they're continuing to develop Spock and Chapel so much.
Well, it's an interesting so going back to this being a take on the original series, it's an interesting way to go. So in the original series, Chapel would flirt with Spock a lot. And it was always just sort of and in the show it's more just her teasing the fact that he doesn't have emotions, she just thinks it's funny. So this is an interesting way of reinterpreting those original interactions. No, wrong. She definitely had a crush on Spock, but the flirting was mostly just her teasing him.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really enjoyed his conversations with both T'Pring and Chapel, the ones that happened one after the other, where he said to each of them, "You know me well."
Yeah.
And they had both completely misunderstood both times, which I thought was really interesting. Because T'Pring said, "I know that you could never have feelings for Nurse Chapel."
Yeah.
Right? And clearly that's why you said that. Like,
Yeah.
I understand that it was just a ruse.
Yeah.
And obviously your human side allowed you to have the kiss with such passion that you could fake it. He's like, "Yes, you know me so well." And I'm like, "You fucking liar." And then he goes to Chapel and Chapel's like, "Yeah, like you're not the kind of guy that would do that if, you didn't have feelings, if you had any feelings for me. So obviously there's nothing between us." And then he's like, "Yes, you know me well." And I'm like, "You're a fucking liar again."
I don't know. I don't know that it's them Spock is lying to.
He's lying to himself as well.
That's what I was getting at.
But he's lying to them too. Like, I mean, I think there's somewhere, I think he knows, but he can't admit it to himself, so he can't admit it to them.
That's exactly what I think is happening.
Yeah, well, Spock's got a lot of problems with emotion, so it's not like I think he's being purposefully deceitful.
I also felt like it was a kind of social shorthand, like just a response, because like I've encountered that with people where they have like a term of phrase that they just use.
It's just something he says to just cover over stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
or
he
just
says,
to respond.
Oh, maybe just to say to people he's close to.
Yeah.
Just to be like, "Oh, you know me well."
Yeah. Because I could see him doing it with his like father, Sarek, or even his mother, right? Like, I can see it just being something he does.
To just be like, "Yes, I agree with your assessment of who I am." Yeah.
I want to see him go to Pike for sex advice. That's something I want to see Pike get all flustered and be unable to deal with like Spock's very direct questions about human sexuality.
Yeah. I think
it'd be hilarious.
I think him going to Chapel actually indicates that he doesn't think that Chapel has any feelings for him.
Oh, he clearly doesn't.
I mean, I think he might think different after kissing her and after that other scene.
Yeah.
But
like
beforehand,
at the end of this episode, he might realize it, but he clearly didn't before.
Yeah, and I was like, "Why are you going to advice, dude?" But I mean, I like them as friends. I
like their friendship.
I do.
I like their friendship. This is one of the best written love triangles I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, because no one in it wants to screw it up for anybody else, which I really love. I love that part.
Everybody.
Yeah, I love that. I love that everybody in it is like, "No, I want to do the right thing." There's no like, "Ha ha ha, I'm gonna break them up," or "I'm gonna cheat on my partner."
Delicious.
Yeah, it's like everybody wants the best, and Chapel likes her.
Like, if you've ever been in a love triangle, which I have, this feels very authentic.
Maybe they'll just all get together. Maybe this is a show where it can happen. The polyamory can happen.
I am sure, like, I mean, Star Trek's already done polyamory, so we know that Star Trek's willing to go there. Star Trek did polyamory with Phlox back in Enterprise. Back when, like, they couldn't even do queer subtext, even do queer stuff. They were doing polyamory. So, like, Star Trek is clearly willing to go there. I don't think they'll do it here.
It would be interesting because Chapel was clearly attracted to T'Pring.
Oh, yes.
Clearly attracted to T'Pring. I don't know if T'Pring swings that way. It's hard to tell. Like, I don't think you could tell if T'Pring was attracted to a woman.
We also don't know what Vulcan's attitude towards homosexuality is.
Yeah, I would imagine they won't have Vulcans have any issues with that because it's in the new Star Trek. I can't imagine it being an issue.
So there's that, but like part of me is like they could absolutely use this to examine, like, because there's a point where like if Vulcans are super logical and they treat sex purely in a material sense, you could definitely explore, be like, well, Vulcans don't marry for love, so why would they understand homosexual, they're fine with it, but that's not what drives their relationship, so why, like, right?
That's possible, unless I also would say that they don't see procreation as a necessity because they could make family units with people.
Right. Obsession with procreation is also illogical. So like, I think there's potential to explore Vulcan sexuality in and what that means in a broad sense, including but not limited to homosexuality.
It would be illogical to make people who are not attracted to each other enter a pair bond.
Yeah,
I would
so
think.
it's nothing about sex is logical. Not a thing about it.
Yeah.
So like it's illogical. It's illogical to get hung up on it.
Attraction is illogical. Yeah.
Yeah, like attraction is fundamentally illogical. So there's potential to explore it. I don't think they will. I don't. There's a lot of loaded subject matter in there, and I'm not sure that they're going to be bold enough to go there. Because someone's going to be angry if they do.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I would be I would follow them there. But
I'm very curious about it. Speaking of kind of queer stuff, what did you think about Angel / Aspen being
loved her
non-binary? Well, them.
Is she non-binary?
Well, they kept saying they. They kept saying they.
So okay, so one, the person who plays that character is a trans woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They mentioned about Aspen was they.
She is on the new Queer as Folk. That hasn't premiered yet. So she's one of the main characters on the new Queer as Folk coming.
I did not clock her at all. No, that's really interesting.
So she's a trans woman. I don't know if the character is non-binary.
Their character was referred to as they exclusively.
But she's doppelganger, right? So the person that she kidnapped is non-binary.
I don't know.
We don't know this character's. We don't know what this character's identity is.
No, we don't know what Angel's was. I don't think we ever heard the pirates refer to Angel as anything but the captain.
Yeah.
But Angel referred to Aspen as they.
Yes.
And
so Aspen is the they them for sure.
And the Pike referred to Angel as they from there then on. Yeah. But it may have just been a default given that Aspen is a they.
Yeah.
And this synopsis refers to Angel as they.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
It was very much a throwaway. There was nothing obvious about it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
So Aspen's a they them. I kind of have no feelings on it because they're not really in the show. They're just there. And but I thought Angel herself, I'm going to use her just because the actress is a her.
Makes sense.
Was fantastic. I loved her. I loved how hammy she was. I also love that they had a trans woman.
Especially when she revealed herself as Angel. Yeah, she was just like, I'm evil, guys. How's it going? Yeah.
I loved how hammy she was. I thought she was it was just deliciously campy. I love that they had a trans woman flirting with a cis man, and it's never acknowledged.
No, they had
So
great chemistry. Great chemistry.
fucking
Her and
good.
Ethan Peck had great chemistry.
Yeah, no, I think that perfect. Like I loved her.
I never thought that anything was gonna happen with them, but I definitely felt like there was a bond. He felt understood by her.
Yeah, and it's because she's married to Cybok, and so if you don't know Cybok's deal, it's brought up a little bit. Cybok's whole deal is that he is a Vulcan who rejects logic. His entire motivation in Star Trek V is that he seeks meaning, but he doesn't seek meaning through logic. He seeks meaning through emotion, and that's what drives his character arc, just to find God. Star Trek V is a mixed bag of movie, but it has some really good stuff in it.
And now Angel's off, so we're probably going to see her again.
Oh yeah. Well, she's Cybok cover, so
yeah.
They're definitely setting Cybok. I thought they were going to do the Gorn as the big bad, but it really seems they're setting Cybok up as the big bad.
Yeah, and it looks like that's concerning because, like, again, I am very concerned for T'Pring. And continue to be concerned for her safety.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think the show is gonna divest too much from mainline Star Trek.
Well, yeah, especially with Kirk showing up in season 2, you have an opportunity for your death match, right? Like,
yeah. So I don't think they're. So I'm not worried about T'Pring's well-being, at least physical well-being, because
but they're totally gonna kidnap her, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're
sure.
Like Cybok and Angel are totally kidnapping.
I'm not worried about her getting hurt. That doesn't mean that there won't be conflicts surrounding her. That doesn't mean bad things won't happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
But they're I don't think they're gonna like kill her or anything, because she's got to be around for TOS to have the episode where Kirk finds out that Spock actually has a wife that he just never mentioned. This is so everyone.
How is that going to happen? I think everything's going to change, because I don't think there's going to be any way that Kirk's going to find out that Spock had a wife that he never mentioned if she keeps turning up on the ship all the time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they changed that. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, because I mean, Star Trek. I don't think they're going to create a whole new timeline, because Star Trek timelines are already fucked up. And I don't think they're going to want to deal with more fucked up timeline.
I think the timelines change for sure. Then I think events are going to be different in some way.
I think they're just gonna they're gonna alter the timeline a little bit, just enough that you can suspend and disbelieve it. But like, I'm not worried. Like, they're not gonna they want to set up the original series. They don't want to undermine
deviate
it
from it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they might change it in ways that help set it up, and like maybe there's some nitpicky stuff you can do, but I don't think they're going to deviate from it like a ton. But yeah, this is why everyone talking about Michael being like, Spock never mentioned he had a sister. This is why Discovery's bad. It's like, Spock had a wife he never mentioned. Spock had a brother he never mentioned.
Yeah, a half brother who's
Spock
evil.
Was
apparently
bad about this. He's a very private guy.
He's a private guy. He doesn't like to talk about his family. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you?
If you had Cybok, no,
I mean,
no.
His family's a mess.
His family's a mess. Okay, look, he's gone low contact with his family. Okay, guys, like, why can't you respect his boundaries?
That's right.
All right, jeez. Our Pike, our Pike and Ortega's like BFFs or something like that, because I'm just loving their interactions. Like, how close do you want to get?
First date,
or third date, blind date. Got it, sir.
Backing off.
And he calls her by her first name all the time.
Yep.
Does he call her Melissa, or
no,
what is her first name?
Ortega.
No, but he calls her by her first name all the time too.
I love his relationship with all the crew. I think he is just like, I think he's my favorite.
That's how he keeps up with them.
Yeah.
Erica. Sorry, Erica. Melissa is her actor name. He calls her Erica. Like, he calls her Erica a lot. He calls her Una too. He says Una, Lon. He calls them all by their first names actually a lot.
This is just how he captains. He just captains by building like a really strong personal relationship with his people.
Like Ensign Mount.
I love him for it. He is now my favorite captain.
He He's my favorite captain because he said he would have sex with himself too. A pile of Anson mounts, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's the
Oh, that's his death. That's how he's going to die.
What do you bring? What do you bring to Pike from your personal life? He's like, oh, knowledge of my own death. I got really high in Hawaii and had a vision of myself dying in an alternate dying with every variant of Anson Mount across the universe.
Yeah, and, I found it. See, a couple of years ago, while filming Inhumans, I was hiking on Kawakini. I stumbled into a pot farm just as a lava throw ignited the entire crop. As the smoke took me, my spirit was freed from my corporeal shell, and I was loosed from the dim four-dimensional existence, seeing for the first time the grand tapestry of life and time, including my own death. Crushed to death in an enormous pansexual orgy between all possible Anson mounts in all possible universes. And so I really wanted to bring that depth to the character of Chris Pike. What do you do when your entire life becomes nothing more than a wait for the final grand culmination? I believe the plural is Anson's mount.
Yeah, I mean, he clearly pre-prepped that answer.
I hope he didn't, but I imagine he did. Green sent that to me, by the way. That's your credit entirely. So yes.
I don't know. I love the idea. I think it's much more amusing than him improvising. If he's just like, okay, I know I'm going to get this question. What ridiculous answer do I come up with?
Well, if it's the same sort of thing, he could have been on a press junket.
Yes.
Which is like, if you see in America's Sweethearts, they have a really good example of that, where you just have like the same, you have interviewers.
That's from the Strange New Worlds DVD box set that hasn't been released yet.
Well, they might have taken it from a press junket where basically like they'll have all of the interviewers come in like one after another. So Hollywood Reporter, People Magazine, StarTrek.com, but one after the other. And they all ask the same fucking questions.
Yeah.
So this could be the 20th time he's asked it. And he's like,
probably.
oh, okay, I'm going to give them something good this time.
Yeah,
all right. Like,
for real.
He was like, because
just
before.
Just because he's bored. Yeah.
Yeah, just because he's bored. Yeah. Because
Well,
before he could have been like, well, I really like to be like a communal kind of guy, and that's why we called them by their first name. And then he got tired of answering the same thing 20 times, and so he's just like, "Yeah, I got really high and saw my own death."
Yeah, he is by no means the best Star Trek captain. In fact, he's probably one of the worst, but he is my favorite.
I still like Lorca, even though he's evil. He was still a good captain, just an evil captain. In any case, so this episode, fun episode. Everyone did their jobs appropriately, and they were good crew.
Yep.
Took back the ship. Pirates were embarrassed. Angel ran away. Definitely will come back. Set up Cybok.
So we got 2 more episodes left. So we'll probably have one more lighthearted episode, and then an episode about Cybok where Angel comes back. That's my guess.
And probably T'Pring will get kidnapped, and that will probably be like the cliffhanger for the season. That's my guess.
That's a good one.
Maybe T'Pring and Spock. Who knows? Like, because Spock will go after them, so maybe they'll both be like in danger somewhere. Who knows?
Maybe Spock will get
Nurse
kidnapped
Chapel.
again.
Maybe Spock will get and Nurse Chapel. Maybe all 3 of them together. That would make me so happy. Oh my god! If it was like T'Pring and Spock and Nurse Chapel in prison somewhere facing certain death. And they all have to talk about their feelings. I would freak out. Make it happen, Star Trek. If it does, I'm going to like lose it. I'm going to tweet about that so much and be like, here is a clip of me calling the finale. They're imprisoned and they have to talk about their feelings. Yay.
I think we're definitely going to get that. I don't think we'll necessarily get that at the season finale. But I think there's going to be a point where they're going to have to get all 3 of them in a room together. And none of them can leave, and they'll have to have it out.
And they'll almost going to die. It's going to be a certain death on the way.
I don't think that will necessarily be... I don't think that will necessarily be the season finale, but I think we will see that at some point.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. I need that to happen in my life. I just love Chapel. She's so great. Yeah, she's such a nice person. She's so nice.
she's a much bigger part of the show than I expected going in. I was not expecting Nurse Chapel. She's a minor character in the original series, played by Gene Roddenberry's wife,
Majel Barrett. Majel Barrett, Loxana Troy,
and also the ship's computer.
Loxana Troy. I love her so much.
She carried that. She does not get enough credit for carrying that fucking show.
Oh man,
It's true.
Whenever things are getting boring. Too much heavy. Bring in a Loxana Troy episode. That'll liven things up. Mother.
She also has the best episode when she's on DS9. Really humanizes
The Odo episode?
Otto.
Oh yeah, the Odo episode. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't like it quite as much as you do, but it's probably the best Odo episode. Like, Odo's not a character I care for a variety of reasons, but the episode with her and Odo is very strong.
Odo, last of his kind.
Until he's not, and then it turns out his kind is all fascists.
It's true. Space fascists.
Space fascists. Space pirates are way more fun. More space pirates.
So yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I going back to Serene
Squall,
that scene where Pike's just like yarrrrr.
He's so goofy.
That has been pure Anson Mount.
I know. He's
That
so weird.
I cannot imagine them writing that.
Then he's just sitting there and he just I don't know, yarrrrr. Because he's like, they're space pirates. So I have to say yarrrr. It's important. Oh my god.
Wow. The entire crew is just like refusing to look at him.
They're like, we will not acknowledge this dad.
I was going to
oh my
say,
god. Dad joke.
Number 2 is just like, or sorry, number 1 is just like, please stop. That's the only thing anyone says.
You're so embarrassing. You're so embarrassing. Yeah. He's their dad. He is. He's like
big himbo dad energy. Yes.
Captain Dad. Captain Dad. Happy Father's Day, Captain Dad. Keep all your ship children safe.
Yeah. So we got 2 more episodes left, I think.
Yeah, 2 more episodes left, and then it looks like sometime in the summer, Lower Decks will happen.
Yeah.
We don't know when. I am guessing
August, probably.
I'm guessing August because I'm guessing it will not overlap with The Boys. Because Jack Quaid cannot promote 2 things at once.
True.
So
yeah.
That is my thought, because I was like, oh, I just realized that he would be.
I guess I kind of watched The Boys. I did not like the comic it was based on, but everyone tells me I love the show.
Well, it's another fun show where you're like, oh my god, that's Toronto. That's the corner there and there.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. Yeah, this season, I think this season has been a lot better in terms of watching, because the media satire commentary is so freaking incisive that it's exceptional, and takes away from some of the like tough stuff that's tougher to watch. But the first couple of seasons, there's some stuff that's really hard to watch in the first few seasons that sometimes I'm not really sure that this is necessary. But the media criticism is always like super good.
That's why I don't like the comic. So the comic's is written by Garth Ennis, whom I really liked Preacher, but I liked Preacher in college. I haven't read it since. I don't know if I would like it now. I should sit down and try and read it. Preacher, the TV show, I like. I've only seen the first season, but I like the Preacher, the TV show. But Preacher, it's a very different beast than Preacher, the book. But other than Preacher, I can't think of a single thing from Garth Ennis I've ever liked. He's just such a nihilist. And this is the dude who wrote a comic where someone gets beaten to death with a severed horse penis. This is just what he does. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
Is just grotesque and over the top.
And there is a lot of that. I mean, Kripke, I feel like, is a lot better at
he did
putting
give
it
me
in a
comment-
way that works for TV and mitigating some of that, and some of it, like some of the Stormfront stuff was unbelievable, like really
Well, yeah,
good.
Stormfront in the comics is a dude. So I think making Stormfront a woman's interesting.
It was amazing because some of the things it did that were really fascinating was she would say things that were, you would agree, like it was so girl boss
Well,
that it was really
if
good. It was
if,
very
if
white feminist.
at the risk of dipping into my politics show, the face of contemporary fascism is absolutely a white blonde attractive woman. Like it's Margaret Margaret Taylor Greene.
Mm.
Like it's the women on Fox and Friends. Like the face of contemporary fascism is a woman. So I think the idea of like, so them changing Stormfront from a man to a woman does tell me that, like, I'm like, okay, these people know what they're doing with this material. I haven't seen the show. I watch very little TV. I make time for Star Trek, and I make time for whatever Disney Plus is putting out, and that's basically about it. Although even though I haven't seen the new episode of Captain Marvel yet, loved episode 1 though. Thought it was fantastic.
On Disney Plus, The Dropout, I would suggest you watch too. That's another one that has some very interesting stuff about
Okay.
women in society
Okay.
and how that works. That's about Theranos.
I'm trying to make time for What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
Well, that's
a lot of
fun.
fun. And they're very short episodes, which is nice because they're only half hour. So
that's what I've started watching other than Star Trek and like Marvel. I haven't even seen the Shoresy show yet, and I fucking love Letterkenny.
Yeah, I haven't seen
This
it
is
either,
what-
but I need to.
Remember we
watch
talked about how we
more
get like caught in
Letterkenny.
video games? This is the thing. I'm currently hyper focusing on video games right now.
Mhm.
So I'm not watching TV. When I get sick of playing Assassin's Creed games, because Jesus Christ, I'm 100 hours into Valhalla, and I haven't even found the main plot yet. This game's huge.
Oh my god. This is my fear with video games.
Yeah,
entirely.
stay away from the latter Assassin's Creed games. They're massive. But like this is why I've been watching TV, because I've just been playing. Like I've stopped reading. That's not true. I've been reading The Expanse, but I only read or play video games at this moment.
Mhm.
So I don't watch a lot of TV. There'll come a time where I will finish Assassin's Creed, and I'll probably take a break off video games, and I'll probably get caught up on a fuck ton of television then.
Well, you'll probably have a break from Star Trek after the next 2 episodes. Because I'm not really sure when Lower Decks comes back. Prodigy isn't back till January.
We did think that Lower Decks would start premiering immediately after. Oh no, we Prodigy. Didn't we think Prodigy was going to be coming out?
Prodigy's not coming back till January.
Oh.
I just checked. Checked before the stream, and yeah, they're scheduled to come back. They're scheduled to come back January. Yeah. That's the first episode.
So we got that means we got like potential 2 months of no Star Trek after this then.
It depends. It depends when Lower Decks starts. But The Boys is 8 episodes, and we're on episode 5.
Yep. Okay.
So that'll be another 3 weeks. So
I'm also behind on The Expanse. So like I'm 2 seasons behind on The Expanse TV show.
So I think
weird reading the books and watching TV show at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine, because there's a lot of differences. But I'm guessing that at least 3 weeks, so maybe not till August. August or September, we might see Lower Decks. But I don't know. I read something that said the summer, so maybe we're looking at late July, August.
We want to do Star Trek actual play for like the theoretical 4 episodes we have before Strange World comes out.
Do you want to play some Star Trek Adventures? Maybe we want to think about it.
Sure, we can think about it.
Yeah,
we have 2 weeks before we have 2 more episodes of. We don't make a decision right now. Just throw it out there.
Yeah, Gary doesn't play very often,
no.
So that would be different for you. That's
I
for sure.
I am also perpetual GM now. I'm in the same boat, but I'll absolutely run some Star Trek.
You could rotate it, but yeah, we don't have the Star Trek books, so we'd have to look at that. So, anyways, that might be fun. So we'll for sure talk about that and figure out what we're gonna do. while there might be no Star Trek, which is like, wow, when has that happened in the
Yeah,
last
we've
like
been
year?
in solid nonstop Star Trek for over a year now.
Yeah, I know, it's been like all Star Trek all the time.
It's true.
I mean, I guess we could try and do a movie, but that's not really copyright friendly. So
Yeah,
I mean,
we got away with it the one time, but we can't make that a regular thing.
yeah, it's probably taken now, to be honest. So we'll see. But yeah, that could work for sure. There's a few other things. I mean, we could rewatch some TNG and talk about it too, I
Yeah.
suppose. But that
I'm still super fucking behind on, like, I still have not watched Voyager.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. Gary watched it pretty recently,
I
I
watched
think.
all of it before I got sick.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always that too. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure out what we're gonna do over the time.
We've got technically we got 4 weeks before we have to figure it out. So.
But yeah, looking forward to wrapping up the season. It's been really excellent. I've been really happy with the show. It's, as we were saying, it's really easy on the eyes. Not too much to complain about looking at.
It is. So as much of an apologist for Discovery as I am, it is nice having a Star Trek show that doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, I guess we did have Lower Decks, but like this feels different from Lower. Like Lower Decks feels a little cynical. This feels genuinely optimistic.
And I mean, like people are saying it's more episodic, and it is. But I will say, like, I mean, like it does have themes. Like
we still get character arcs that continue past episode.
And Discovery kept hammering connection like all last season and all this season. Like they keep talking about fate.
Yeah,
like fate is the big theme for Strange New Worlds. A lot of these episodes have to do with fate and what people's fate is, and if they have to accept their fate, and if fate can be changed. And so, I mean, obviously that's something that they're considering and talking about. Not everything has to do with it, not every episode, but that's what we keep going back to. It's like X-Files or something like that. You've got like the overarching kind of themes, and then Monster of the Week or something.
Yeah.
So
like Buffy. I mean, that's 90s episodic TV. Like Buffy was the same way.
Exactly. And it's not bad. I mean, I enjoy both kinds. Both work. It's nice to have something that you don't have to watch every episode for to know what's going on, though.
Yeah. No, I'm like I said, I think it really learned from Discovery's early mistakes, because I really do. I know you like Discovery season 1. I don't.
It's okay if people don't like it. Most people don't. So.
I think I like it more than most people, but I don't love it either. It's a bit cynical for me.
Yeah.
And that's not what I go to Star Trek for.
Yeah.
I think if you'd given me the same show and slapped a different brand name on it, I probably would have been more receptive to it. But it also does have, like, it also genuinely has pacing issues.
Yeah, it's true. It has a lot of issues. I mean, I'm just kind of I'm often forgiving of first seasons if I find things in them good.
Is there anything more Star Trek than a bad first season?
No kidding. Gary, anything else you have to wrap up? Anything you're looking forward to with the next few episodes?
I don't know. Like it's hard with this because like I know we're kind of seeing some themes like Cyborg and maybe the direction they're going, and like T'Pring is obviously like a big element right now, but like I don't feel, because like it's been so episodic, that they've really telegraphed where they're gonna land.
And I definitely think they're saying Cyborg up for season finale.
Sure.
That or maybe the Gorn, but probably
could be the Gorn. Yeah, it could be anything.
Like, I don't feel strongly like some of the other stuff we watched. Like it's very clear where they're going here. I don't think it really distracts from what's happening because I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. I do agree. Like with Discovery, by this point, we knew exactly where Discovery was going.
Yeah. Here it could go anywhere, and anywhere is equally fine because it doesn't need to tie up any loose ends. There's nothing it needs to finish.
But I do think with that teaser, because they could have done that entire episode not name drop Cybok, and then been like, and then in another episode in like season 2, been like, it was Cybok all along. Like, I think the fact that they teased Cybok tells me that they're going to do something with it this season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to do it next episode, which means that that'll be a season finale thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Also they're clearly building to doing something with the Gorn, but who knows? Gorn might be a one episode. Gorn might be there's one Gorn episode every season ish deal. Like,
maybe Cybok is working with the Gorn.
that'd be quite a twist.
And horrifying. And I doubt it.
No.
Yeah. In any case, I think we're gonna go and watch some Animal Kingdom, since that's back tonight. All these shows keep coming back and surprising me out of nowhere. There's no promotion for anything
Oh,
anymore.
yeah, I was gonna say I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I just keep hearing this show's coming back. Only Murders in the Building season 2. No one tells me anything.
So yeah, Miss Marvel actually premiered to some really low ratings, and I think it's because it got no promotion, but also because they premiered it against Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's taking its promotional space, right?
Yeah, nothing's getting promoted except Star Trek. Star Wars, it seems like.
Obi-Wan, by the way, starts off real rough, but yeah, it's winning me over. I'm liking it.
I'll get to it. I just, like I said last time, I feel like it just keeps being the same story. Oh, look, we're on Tatooine, and somebody has to go.
Yeah, it's true. Like, there are no other planets in this universe.
Yeah.
So I will say this: they leave Tatooine after episode 1.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well,
so they haven't gone back yet. I think they probably will for the last episode, because they've got to get him back for Luke. But yeah, it's basically, so I'll give you the rough setup. Child Princess Leia has been kidnapped, and Obi-Wan has to go rescue her. Darth Vader shows up. It's a good time.
Cool.
It doesn't get good until Darth Vader shows up. Like, Darth Vader is definitely the king of the show. Darth Vader shows up like, oh shit, there are stakes all of a sudden.
Yeah, no kidding. Darth Vader always ups the anxiety level for sure.
It also has the best Darth Vader scene I've ever seen. Like, Darth Vader's introduction is fantastic. It's not.
I've heard it's very cool. Yeah.
It's not as, like, I thought when everyone talked about him at the end of Rogue One, I thought that was a little too much. Like, where he's just like lightsabering everyone, and like I thought, like, that's not how Darth Vader behaves anywhere else. And so, is it absolutely terrifying? It absolutely is. It just doesn't read as Darth Vader to me. But Obi-Wan managed to capture a good balance between Darth Vader in the original movies and Darth Vader in like Rogue One.
Cool. Well, I was glad to hear Taika Waititi say that he's not going to do anybody from the Star Wars universe, and it's going to explore original characters in Star Wars.
He said he wants to do that. We'll see what Disney lets him do.
I hope Disney lets him do that, because he's pretty good at doing stuff.
I think Star Wars is best when it's not concerned with continuity.
Well, I mean, Star Trek is apparently best when it's not concerned with continuity as well.
I think most things are better when they're not concerned with continuity. Like, I don't know if you guys haven't seen it, I strongly recommend Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions is Disney just hired a bunch of Japanese film studios, said, go make a Star Wars thing to us. We don't care what it is, just make a Star Wars.
Cool.
And so it's like 10, 15-minute long short films set in the Star Wars universe that have nothing to do with anything. They are each standalone, of varying quality, but when they're good, they're really good, and they're very watchable.
Awesome.
So if I were to recommend any particular Disney Star Wars project, it would be Star Wars Visions.
Awesome.
Some of them are really subdued, and some of them are way over the top. You want to see a Star Destroyer cut in half by a lightsaber? It happens.
Cool.
You also want to see like a black and white samurai drama? That also happens.
Yeah, Japanese animation is good for that generally.
So,
Disney, so that's on Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus, yeah.
So if you want to check that out.
And there's one character that I hope they make canon. There's like this rabbit girl who is adopted by a human family, and I hope they find somewhere to bring her into the Star Wars canon because I like her a lot.
Cool. All right. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks after two more. Well, the last two Strange New Worlds episodes. So we'll be here to talk about those 2 episodes and discuss the season.
Yep.
Yeah. So have a great week. Have a great 2 weeks, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Tune in. Bye. Oh, when your next stream is on Sunday? Next Sunday?
It should be Sunday. I didn't stream last week because I was exhausted. So,
Makes
provided
sense.
I'm not like falling down half asleep, I will be. It'll be next week.
So next week, if Green and their stream partner are up for it, they're going to be back talking about politics and Native issues. So definitely tune into that. All right. We'll see you in 2, Green in 1, and we'll talk soon about Star Trek. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.